Now, education think tank Africa Education Watch is urging government to begin teacher recruitment in the first quarter of 2026 to address the acute shortages, especially in rural schools. Executive Director Kofi Asare says no teachers were recruited this year, leaving many schools understaffed and worsening dropout rates. He made a call at a dissemination meeting on an out-of-school children census in the northern region. So Kofi Asare currently joins us via Zoom for more on this particular report. Good evening to you, Mr. Asare. Grateful to you for your time here on the ChannelOne newsroom. First of all, kindly share with us the key findings of the census that your organization has conducted in the northern region.
Well, good evening to your cherished audience. The out-of-school census was undertaken by Africa Education Watch with support from the British government in the first quarter of this year, and we did it in partnership with Star Ghana Foundation. We undertook the census because we realized that every 10 years there is a population and housing census, which informs us about the out-of-school situation.
All right.
10 years is a long time to wait for that update. And so we thought that having implemented some out-of-school interventions since the last census report was out in 2021, it was important to gauge progress being made in reducing out-of-school children population, look at emerging dynamics, and inform policy moving forward. And that's why we did the research in 20 districts in the north.
All right. What were the key findings? You've told us about the reason why you did this. What did you find?
One interesting finding is that contrary to the national trend establishing the population housing census, more boys are out of school than girls. Mm-hmm. And that is striking, especially where the attribution is mainly because of economic related activities. We see that about 70% of the out-of-school population are aged between 12 and 17. Compared to the census data in 2021, the majority of the out-of-school children were actually in the lower ages. So what we've seen is that the new trend is emerging in the northern region, where the more people grow, the more they grow out of school. And perhaps this is affirmed by the qualitative reasons given for their absence in school.
Okay. One
of which is the Galamsey, especially in the Talency area. Galamsey was a major factor. We are seeing betting, sports betting, children participation in betting to be a major driver of the out-of-school situation. So boys between 12 and 17 years, etc. So a lot of the issues are economic-related activities, though subject of juvenile delinquency, and so you find that more boys are involved in these activities than girls, and they are keeping more boys out of school compared to girls.
Now, you also made some recommendations. So the reasons you've ascribed, betting, Galamsey. I mean, how do you propose that government deals with this?
Well, one of the third reason is parental responsibility. Now, we make three key recommendations. The first is that local governments must implement bylaws to make sure that children of school-going age enroll in school, or they do not loiter in areas where the law doesn't permit them to, in gambling areas, in illegal mining sites, and then also in the community when there's a school. Now, the third one requires that district assemblies and the central government will have to reinforce the Ghana's resolve in implementing the compulsory aspects of the FQ policy. We all know FQ is a constitutional imperative, and 38.2 providing that there shall be free compulsory basic education for all children of basic school going age. But successive governments have shied away from implementing the compulsory aspect of that. Mm-hmm. We believe that there won't be a day where everything will be set before we trigger the compulsory aspect. And so government should begin to enforce the compulsory aspect of basic education, so that if a child is found out of school, regardless of where they are, whether they are at an illegal mining site, a galamsey site, a gambling site, or anywhere, parents are also held responsible. It is only where the parent has a justifiable reason for not enrolling their child in school, perhaps due to the lack of a school nearby or genuine financial barriers, that they should be excused. But if we say we are not going to implement the compulsory aspect of F-cube, we are going to have a big problem looking at the trends and then the economic drivers of out-of-school children, especially among boys. But most importantly, we have advised the government to recruit teachers in the first quarter of 2026.
Okay.
The sector normally recruits teachers in the last quarter, but given the high number of out-of-school children we identified in 20 districts in the northern region, and the fact that many classrooms are empty without teachers, reason why some out-of-school children are out of school, even though they were once in school, gives a compelling reason for government to recruit teachers in the first quarter of 2026 and deploy them to schools where classrooms are unstaffed because there are no teachers. Very, very urgent. We can't wait to the third quarter or fourth quarter of 2026 to see teachers being posted into underserved classrooms at the basic level.
All right, sir. I'm grateful to you. Kofi Asare is the Executive Director for Africa Education Watch, an education policy think tank here in the country. Let's stay with education.